Hello, I'm Victoria, and this is my presentation about communication in the workplace. So this is my topic overview. I'm talking about flow of communication and channel factors. There are three types of communication: downward, upward, and lateral. I will talk about this more in my IO theory part. And the channel factors have face-to-face and computer-mediated two types of channel, but there are also some semantic problems in the channel factors due to the cultural difference. So my work-related problem is that I have volunteered at the campus office, and I feel like there is sometimes delay of downward communication because my coordinator didn't realize that I need this information because she underestimates my willing to get this information. So when I almost complete my task, my coordinator sometimes will tell me that I do not need to do this work anymore, or somebody else will do this work. So I feel like it really wastes my time and effort to do this kind of task. And I encounter some semantic problems, such as language barrier, because as an international student, sometimes I cannot understand some words very clearly. So my coordinator need to spend more time explaining more to me about how to do this task or some task details. And I also encounter the lack of lateral communication because of cultural differences. So I feel like that I cannot foster a very cohesive team environment because I cannot really build some trust in my with my other co-workers. And the IO series in the textbook talk about downward communication is from supervisors to subordinates, and the authors think this kind of communication is not enough because supervisors always overestimate their information to subordinates and underestimate subordinates willing to get the information. So the lack of downward communication will influence organizational outcomes, and lateral communication is between two parties at the same time. It's really important when co-workers need to coordinate with each other, and it's helpful for different departments to share news and information, but too much lateral communication will detract workers from effective job performance. And the channel factors is the vehicle of transmission of a message. There may be some semantic problem because different people will interpret same meaning to different opinions. And there are two types of channel, face-to-face versus computer-mediated. They also think like face-to-face communication maybe has more effectiveness than computer-mediated communication. So my related research article is the process of team communication in multicultural context. It's an empirical study using balanced interaction process analysis. So the independent variables are cultural diversity, homogeneous versus heterogeneous, and communication mode, face-to-face versus computer-mediated communication. And the dependent variables divides team members' communication exchanges into either task-related or social-emotional contributions at two levels. The first is communication profile, and second is functional area. So the author basically divides participants will assigned to one of the 20 teams with 4 members according to their nationality. So They will remain in the same group for the duration of the study, and the team were further divided into two types of a communication mode, face-to-face and computer-mediated communication. So 5 teams of homogeneous group were assigned to face-to-face, while 5 were assigned to computer-mediated condition. And similarly, 5 of heterogeneous teams were face-to-face, and the remaining 5 were computer-mediated communication. So at each time of the experiments, the groups had 2 hours to complete the experimental task. And the answer as a result is that for the cultural diversity, generally homogeneous teams have greater levels of communication, particularly socially oriented communication during team-based tasks when compared to heterogeneous teams. And the one potential explanation for this result is that the heterogeneous team may have had difficulties in establishing trust. And for the communication mode, generally the face-to-face condition was associated with greater levels of communication compared to the computer-mediated communication condition. This finding may be particularly true for tasks that require decision-making or problem-solving. So my proposed solution is that supervisors need to realize that workers need more information, so need to provide information for workers, and the employees need to realize cultural diversity, and maybe the worker need more face-to-face communication with each other. All right, so thank you. This is my presentation.